So last week I went to take a jury at a design college and I observed how some designers did way better than the others. And that got me thinking, what is it that these designers did better compared to rest of them? Well, it's the way they packaged and presented their design. So in this video, I'm going to talk about 7 things you should definitely keep in mind before your next design presentation. And make sure you stick till the end because I'll be sharing a bonus tip as well. See you inside. So let's start with the basics. Being a UX designer doesn't mean you have to just design your screen. Think from the perspective of your stakeholder. Think from the perspective of the person at the other end of the table. Before you make your presentation, think about what are they going to take away from this presentation. What do you want them to remember out of this? Answer few questions like what is it that they want to know? Why is it important to them? What is relevant to them? And what are some of the things that might distract them from the main topic? If you're not sure whether something should go in the presentation or not, just ask yourself, does it help your key takeaways? If not, just get rid of it. This method is going to help you create better presentations that will keep your audience engaged and awake. Now, since we're talking about understanding from their perspective, we need to also speak in a layman language. We need to understand what context they can relate to and what they don't. You're working on your designs day in, day out, and you have all the context it needs. Imagine if someone even wakes you up from a sleep and asks you why the screen looks like this, why there is a button on the screen. You can literally explain them. You have a great level of context and understanding of your designs. But does the other person do? No, right? Your stakeholders probably don't know why your screens look a certain way. So if you want your audience to understand your designs and probably even appreciate them more, share your reasons behind those design decisions. This will help you build a better understanding and a better connection with your stakeholders. And of course, it's a win-win in the long run for your company and your project. But while doing so, also make sure you realize to have the right balance of information. You need to have enough data to answer any question in detail, but at the same time, not share too much information that it bores your audience. And while presenting, make sure you focus on the important points and know which ones to skip over. You can just give them highlights and skip to the important points in your presentation. This will really help you. Before we move on to our next point, I have a situation for you. Imagine you presenting your designs and suddenly someone asks a question that you don't know the answer to. What do? Most of the designers make this mistake of lying or cooking up false stories on the spot. Do you know what's wrong with that? The solutions that you think on the spot, they are not well thought of. And even though they will help you during the presentation, but later on, you will only be questioned for these solutions because they were not backed by data or backed by real numbers. So make sure you give real answers. And let's say you do not know the answer to a question. It's absolutely fine to say that you don't know the answer to something. It's better than cooking up fake stories or telling a lie. So be honest with whatever work you have done and own up to it. Coming up with answers and design ideas on the spot will only do more damage to your product than it will do the good. That also brings us to our next point. Acknowledge all the assumptions that you've made in your design process. This really helps your stakeholder understand where your design ideas are coming from and why your solutions are formed in a certain way. So let's say your solution is not the best one. Your stakeholders can still dig deeper and understand where you went wrong, and they can always provide you with better solutions or better understanding of the domain. And let's say you do not call out your assumptions and your stakeholder has a better understanding of the industry and the domain. In that case, they actually get more annoyed because they will think that you have only half-baked information or you don't have the complete context to the problem and you're already suggesting solutions. So make sure you list down the assumptions you're making. We often have a habit of second-guessing ourselves and thinking that, hey, if we had more time, this design would have looked something entirely different. It's okay. When you step in the room for a presentation, own your work. Don't second guess yourself while you're presenting. Good or bad, it's your work. Take pride in showing your work. Pride does not mean that you will be disrespectful or mean to other people. It does not mean that you will feel that my work is superior and whatever you are doing is not that important. I'm the designer, let me call the shots. No. Taking pride in your work means you care about it and hence you make it look extremely professional. For example, you don't make silly typo mistakes in your presentations. I've often seen designers make silly grammatical errors or very basic alignment issues while presenting their own designs. This shows that they're not that happy with their work, or this shows the lack of professionalism and the lack of confidence in their own work. Imagine this. You're sitting in a cafeteria and you see two of your friends. Now, one of them seems stressed and he walks up to you. He wants to talk to you about something, but he's not really confident in his voice. He has a very low and gloomy voice and he's trying to talk to you, but he's not really confident, not really sure. He's still thinking about things in his head and he isn't talking to you in a very clear way. You're understanding what he's saying, but you don't seem that interested. And now the second friend, he's walking up to you to share something with you. He has this big fat smile on his face and now you are smiling too. He comes up to you and starts talking in an enthusiastic manner about, hey, this happened, that happened, and you start listening to him carefully. Now, I have a question for you. Which one of these stories do you want to hear more about? The second one, right? Why? Because they had the right attitude. So make sure whenever you're walking into a room to present your design, make sure you enter with a positive attitude. This really helps the other person connect with you better. Now, I know you must be thinking, but what if I fumble? But what if they don't agree? But what if my designs have flaws and they see it? That's all right. These are all just what ifs that your mind is telling you. Just ignore them, walk in with a positive attitude, and own up whatever work you've done. The most important advice for any presentation is not to present. What? Yes, it is to listen. Nahi samjhe. The more you listen, the better you get at presentations. Because each time you make a note of the questions that are being asked to you, it helps you reflect on the areas that can be improved in your presentation. Or let's say you're getting a lot of feedback on your design. Instead of jumping in to defend your designs, just take a step back and hear those feedbacks. You never know, it can really help in your designs. Always remember, our job is not just to design, but also present them really well. Because ideas that are presented well are more likely to be selected. So be it your portfolios, your UX audits, user testing, design reviews, or design interviews, make sure you put your best foot forward and present really well. And lastly, since you've reached the end of the video, here is my bonus tip for you. Make sure you tell stories. Because we are humans and we all love hearing stories. We don't enjoy hearing these facts and numbers and data. Convert it all into an interesting narrative, an interesting story, and I hope you really ace your presentation. Now, I hope you enjoyed the video and do let me know in the comments which of these are you going to try out immediately in your next presentation. And of course, if you liked the video, do let me know by dropping in a thumbs up. This way, it really motivates us to create more and more content for you and to reach out to more designers like you.